welcome back. Last week we talked about resetting for spring and being mindful about bringing your horse slowly back into work after time off in the wintertime. Today, as kind of a continuation of that, I want to talk about some of the mistakes that people make when bringing their horses back into work. We'll talk about the mistakes that I see, how to avoid them, so your horse stays sound, willing, and comfortable as the riding season starts. Mistake number 1, doing too much too fast. The biggest mistake is rushing. Winter downtime lowers fitness, even with turnout. Muscles soften, cardiovascular conditioning goes down, and connective tissue is going to need some time to adapt again to training. When people jump straight back into long rides, speed work, or intense training, the horse's body simply is not ready. And that's unfortunately when soreness and injury tend to show up. Think about yourself. If you've been a couch potato for the longest time and then decide you're going to do a really hard leg workout, you're almost guaranteed to be sore for days afterwards. And that may even prevent you from working out again until days later when that soreness has finally eased up. We don't want to do that to your horse. Conditioning should almost feel boring at first. If it feels impressive, you're probably doing too much. Mistake number 2, confusing sweat with fitness. A sweaty horse is not a fit horse. Horses can sweat from heat, stress, or excitement long before they're actually conditioned. Sweating should not be used as a measurement for how good a particular session with your horse was. In the summertime, for example, my horses might be sweating even before I get on, just from the fact that it is hot out. In contrast, in the later fall, I might have a really hard ride on my horse because he's been conditioned and he's fit from a whole riding season under his belt. He may not break into a sweat in the late fall because it's so darn cold out. Sweat should definitely be something that you're monitoring, but in addition to other metrics as well. When your horse is truly fit, it's going to show up as different things, like how fast they recover, steady breathing, and consistent movement. Conditioning is not about tiring your horse out. It's how well they handle and recover from the work. A horse can go a very long time if needed, even if they are out of shape. You aren't going to tire them out, and that should not be your goal. We are wanting to improve their fitness by a gradual increase in the amount of work they are able to handle. Mistake number 3 is ignoring movement quality. So this mistake would be when you're focusing only on things like time or distance and ignoring how your horse is actually moving. Short strides, stiffness, resistance, or tension are all communication. If movement quality declines, that's your sign to back off, not to push through and make the movement quality better. That will never work. If you're not super experienced with horses, you may have a hard time identifying when there's an issue with movement quality, especially if you're the one riding them and you're not seeing them from a distance, seeing how that horse is moving. That's where things like video can be really helpful to see what your rides actually look like. Because let me tell you, what a ride feels like and what it actually looks like are two very different things. I would also recommend, again, if you are inexperienced, getting the eye of a coach or a trainer who is experienced on you, because they will be able to more readily identify any movement issues with your horse. If you're conditioning your horse correctly, movement should improve over time, not get worse. Mistake number 4 is skipping the walking phase. Walking is one of the most valuable conditioning tools, and it also happens to be the one that people just like to kind of skip over. Walking strengthens joints, tendons, and ligaments safely. Rushing past the walking phase and jumping right into trotting and loping is a great recipe to end up with a sore horse or worst case scenario, an injured horse. I know, especially this time of year, early spring, we're all craving a nice lope on our horses, but I need you to resist the urge. You don't want to end up hurting your horse. Yes, they may lope out in the pasture, but that is a whole different beast compared to loping in an arena with a rider and a saddle on their back. And on top of that, doing it for an extended period of time. You want to take things nice and slow, sticking to exclusively walking sessions, depending on where your horse's baseline fitness is when you start your conditioning program. You have to remember that connective tissue takes longer to adapt than muscle, and so you need to be taking that into consideration. And as I've said a million times, you need to be taking this process very, very slow and definitely watching for the signs that your horse is throwing out there. Mistake number 5, inconsistency. Doing a lot on one day and then not doing a whole lot for a lot of days is inconsistent and it's stressful on your horse. Horses respond best to short, regular, consistent sessions. That may not mean doing something every single day, but consistency can be having a regular schedule where you're riding your horse, working your horse X times a week for X amount of time and gradually building up for that. We definitely want to avoid those really hard, infrequent sessions because your horse's body, it's impossible for them to adapt from a schedule like that. Mistake number 6 is not adjusting their feed and their care. As a horse's workload increases, their needs as far as just their general care and their nutrition will go up. Bringing horses back into work without adjusting things like their nutrition, their hydration, or their recovery can create deficits that can show up as poor performance, soreness, or again, potentially injury. And not only is work increasing this time of year, but I think a lot of people, especially where I live, spring also comes with the transition of going from an exclusively hay forage diet to an exclusively pasture-based diet. And I think a lot of people don't realize that that can be a potential stressor on the horse's system as well. So that becomes very important to keep tabs on. It definitely wouldn't hurt to talk to a vet or an equine nutritionist about your horse's nutritional needs. For myself personally, so yes, my horse's workload will increase as we get further and further into spring. They will get transitioned onto pasture, but those transitions occur over a very long period of time. It doesn't happen overnight or even over the course of a week. It takes a long time. I take my time making sure that they're handling the transition well so that no issues pop up from trying to force things too fast. I know we're all super excited to ride and like I said, get out in the arena, lope some rocking horse type circles on our horses. I miss that so much. But do not rush things because I find like if you rush, you're going to get slowed up at some point either from soreness or injury or something is going to come up. Take your time, bring your horse up slowly, enjoy the warm weather, enjoy being out there longer, but definitely listen to your horse and be mindful of the signs that are popping up as you increase their workload. Slow conditioning is going to make your horse resilient and strong and healthy and also just a willing partner who enjoys spending time with you. And with that, I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. You can find me everywhere at Strong in the Saddle. And until next time, remember, it's always a good day to ride.